The first 3 levers to pull on your HVAC business. Hi, this is Josh Horn of Horn Valuation. I help owners build, value, and sell their business. So I'm deepening my niche into the HVAC industry. I've been able to help these owners a lot, and I think there's a lot of opportunity in this space. What I want to talk to you about today are 3 levers you can pull to inject cash flow in your business. So let's take a look at a business that's being run one way, and then a second HVAC business that's pulling the 3 levers and getting more cash flow. So let's take a look at HVAC business 1. And at the top I have a year-over-year income statement or P&L, and at the bottom I have a year-over-year balance sheet. So they're growing, right? Revenues or sales are going up. They're making more money after taxes in the second year, an increase of $16,000 of net income. On the surface, it looks like things are going okay, right? And one thing I talk about all the time, and I'm going to be consistent here too, is income is not cash flow. Is the cash balance going up for this business? And the answer is no. Why is that? So let's take a look at this and see why that's happening and what you might do to improve your situation if you look like HVAC company number 1. So what's happening is primarily because of a mismanagement of the balance sheet, which includes an increase in receivables from the customers and a lot of debt. Their cash is going backwards. So what can we do to pull the 3 levers and move your cash flow up? Let's take a look at the second HVAC company and we'll find out. So let's look at the 3 levers. And by the way, there's no specific order you need to attack these in. I'm going to go from bottom to top, and I'm going to save the best for last because this is the one I think few HVAC businesses are taking advantage of. Let's take a look at the long-term debt. Now you may say, Josh, I already have the debt. What am I going to do? I have to pay it back. And that's a fair point. However, one of the things I see occasionally, the debt is attached to vehicles, trucks, and other assets, fixed assets that aren't returning cash flow into the business. Now, this is a decision you'll have to think about long and hard, but you may want to sell those assets and pay down some of the debt. If those wheels aren't turning, you aren't getting cash flow on them. And what I see sometimes are that businesses buy fixed assets, trucks, equipment, and such to get tax write-offs, and then they sit in the parking lot just costing cash flow to the business. I don't want you to be in that situation. So that's one lever you can pull to increase cash flow. Notice this business, their cash flow is going down by $12,000 because of debt. HVAC number 1 is going down $30,000 because of debt. Big difference. So look at your debt. How about collections from customers? Accounts receivable. Do you wait until it piles up and then start calling people on the phone? Or do you have a perfect process that you follow every single week? And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're calling customers every single day. That may work for you. But whatever it is you do, you need to be consistent. Whether that's 2 days a week, 3 days a week, how many ever days a week. And maybe you have a system for mailing out statements to the customers and following up on those statements. Whatever that is that works, you need to do it all the time. And this is something I see way too often. And you can see here in HVAC number 2, the accounts receivable grew, but not nearly as much as in HVAC number 1, where it really kind of ballooned and went from $30,000 to $45,000, significantly hurting cash flow. Now this is my favorite. Increase your prices. This is the 3rd lever up here. Let's say they looked at their jobs that they performed during the year and they said, we're going to increase prices by 1%. 1%. Now look what that did. Now instead of $76,000, they earn $90,000 of net income. But more importantly, let's look at, when we put these three levers together, what this looks like for HVAC number 2. Their cash balance went up $33,000, a change from the first one of $42,000. That's a cash improvement of $42,000 because they move these three levers in the right direction. Now I know I'm going to get some pushback on price increases. I want to read you a little story from a book that I highly recommend. So bear with me just a second. Years ago, I had an interesting conversation with a contractor in South Carolina named Mr. Lambright. We met up after one of my financial management classes to discuss my thoughts on the market cap for existing home HVAC replacement services in his town. He found it hard to trust my numbers, so I encouraged him to try an experiment. I told him to keep adding $100 to his HVAC replacement bid proposals until he lost a job for charging too much money. The next time I saw Mr. Lambright was at a fall training class on marketing. After the class, I noticed him hanging around as the room was emptying out. I asked if he had any questions. He said no, but he wanted to talk about our conversation from the spring when I encouraged him to keep adding $100 to his quotes until a customer told him that his price was too high. When I asked him how the experiment worked out, he began laughing. He said, "Mr. Ritchie, I had to add $100 10 times until someone told me my price was too high." Take a moment to digest that number. Every time Mr. Lambright took on a job, he was charging $1,000 less than he could have been. This is from the book, Make More Money, 12 Profit Pillars for HVAC Contractor Success by Scott Ritchie and Gary Kearns. I highly recommend this book. Great book. So can you pull one or all three of the levers in your HVAC business? And if you have trouble managing the finances, reach out to me with any questions you have about this. Have a great day. This is Josh Horn of Horn Valuation.